Babli Jonathan. You welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Young people in the Republic of Cameroon expressed disappointment over government's effort to handle or solve the problem of rising unemployment in the country, and they spoke to Equinoxe television expressing their disappointment over what the head of state, President Paul Biya, said in his end-of-year address concerning young people. And the Democratic Republic of Congo blocks the signal of a TV station owned by an opposition leader. The TV station Canal Congo is accused of publishing results of Sunday's presidential election before the official proclamation. Those were top stories. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe television. He saw 2019 barely hours after the start of the new year. He decided to take away his own life. Futso Wafo took away his own life in the northwest or west region of the country, notably in the locality of Banjul. He is reported to have committed suicide, and his lifeless body was found hanging from the roof of his house. Sumanji Kangere reports.
It was with tears on their eyes that inhabitants of Katsina neighborhood in Banjul West region entered the new year. On this suspended cord hangs the lifeless body of a man who decided to leave the world in a harsh way when others were celebrating a new year. It was early in the morning that children in the compound discovered the lifeless body of Futso Wafo Mada, who was living with his mother, who wasn't around when the incident occurred. The disease, many in the neighborhood say, was very unsociable. According to the head of the deceased family, Kamga Wafo Juswe,
il vivait avec sa mère.
2 months ago, the mother left the store in the hands of Futso and traveled to Yaoundé. On her return, drinks in the store have disappeared. Mada pretended to be mad to explain that there was no money. He was pardoned, and 2 weeks ago, the mother refilled the store. On her way back, Mada has again finished everything. This time around, even crates missing. Futso Wafo Mada, who is in his late 40s, was a bricklayer by profession. Investigations are on course, led by the Gendarmerie Brigade of Banjul.
Hundreds of young people graduate from higher institutions of learning in the Republic of Cameroon every year. Many of them are either unemployed or underemployed. The unemployment rate among young people has been rising over the years, and this has remained a permanent problem that is fast becoming a very difficult nut for public authorities to crack. And the problem is further worsened by the Anglophone crisis, with thousands of young people in the northwest and southwest regions of the country hit by crisis, who have been forced out of their homes, forced out of their villages by the deepening Anglophone crisis. And many of them, even those who were managing to do one or two things, have simply become jobless. And the Archbishop of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese of the Roman Catholic Church, who doubles as president of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, His Grace Samuel Kleda, in his end-of-year address to the nation, called on the President of the Republic and his government to handle this problem as soon as possible.
The rate of youth unemployment in the 2 Anglophone regions of the country have witnessed an increase as a result of the current Anglophone crisis. Constant ghost towns, gun battles, shooting, curfews, and the shutting down of some major companies that used to employ some of these youths are some of the cause factors. To this effect, the Archbishop of the Douala Diocese, His Grace Samuel Kleda, during his New Year message to Christians, called on the government to look on the present situation of those youths that had to leave their different towns for safety in bigger cities, who are engaging themselves in doing petty businesses to make a living.
There
is an existing malaise of some young people in some zones of our country who are affected by the socio-political crisis. The principal actors affected are youths. In big cities, they are carrying out petty businesses in order to earn a living. Our leaders have to examine the situation of youths in our country, help them participate in the development of the country. He said, high youth unemployment on economic growth and productivity that cannot be ignored. Youth unemployment requires collective efforts by all the institutions and concerned authorities.
Immaculate Fogwe reporting there, and we stay with you, Immaculate, to talk about some young persons who spoke to Equinoxe television here in the economic capital Douala after the end-of-year address of the President of the Republic, and they expressed disappointment with what the President of the Republic said in his end-of-year address, notably concerning the government's effort to fight unemployment among young people in the country. According to them, the President of the Republic and his government are not adequately handling this problem that has been increasing in intensity over the years.
President Paul Biya's end-of-year message to the nation December 31st, 2018 is described by some youth as an edited photocopy of his past speeches, promises that have not been fulfilled for over the years. These youths say he did not adequately address problems plaguing the young people. It is really painful that till now the president isn't getting the cry of youth and that things are not moving. The president ought to understand that youth have a role to play. They have to integrate youths into the government. It is true that a 30-year-old is the Director General of ENAM, but I don't know if it is a trap that the president wants to see if youths are really competent. But putting a youth at that level where it requires a lot of responsibility is a good step. We the youths really wish that we could be integrated. I wasn't really interested in the president's speech because it's the same thing being served to us on a plate for the past 36 years. I am a holder of a diploma, but I don't know if I should say I am blessed or cursed. The president called on youth, especially in the northwest and southwest region, to lay down their arms and be socially integrated. Now, my question is to know in what domain would they be integrated? He wasn't clear in that direction. However, some young Cameroonians say the President of the Republic rekindled hope for a better future.
An expert in community development, a university lecturer, staff of the University of Boya, Musoko Lucas Leonga, has blamed the rising rate of unemployment in the Republic of Cameroon on government's inability to ensure that training offered in higher institutions of learning meet the demands and exigencies of the job market and the professional world. According to him, government should solve this problem with the revision through the revision of the educational system of the country. He says that everything is supposed to be changed because the university education in the Republic of Cameroon today is archaic and anachronistic. Take a listen.
The rate of unemployment presently in Cameroon, the figures are hidden. The true figures, if you go by side or you go by what they have published, you realize that what have been published does not really tie. But if you look at the true rate of unemployment in Cameroon today, about, for example, taking only youths that are leaving the universities, you realize that it will be about 85% going to 90% of university graduates that are unemployed. The reason is simple. The universities in Cameroon don't train persons to become employable. When you see most people that are unemployed, it is because they are not employable. The training that our universities give are outdated, because we are living in an extremely competitive world today, and the world has evolved from the issue of just teaching people what to people doing how. And our institutions teach students what. They are not teaching students how. And the world is looking for how, and not just any how, but skillful how. The world today is not driven by theory. The world is driven by practice. And the world is looking for high-skilled entrepreneurs. It means people who can take initiative on their own, not people who will leave the university and is going to look for jobs.
And contrary to the young people who spoke to Equinoxe television expressing disappointment over President Paul Biya's end-of-year address to the nation, some political and administrative officials in the northwest region of the country said President Paul Biya made a show of his mastery of the problems plaguing the Republic of Cameroon, especially the socio-political and security crisis rocking the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. Take a listen to some of the political and administrative officials who spoke to our Northwest correspondent, Bustela in Bamenda.
His speech was promising. It's a promising type of a speech because he made one statement which I took as the best, that he is going and that he is sensitive to the Anglophone worries, which means the Anglophone problem is already on his decks and he's going to handle it. I added there again that with his rich experience in administration, he will do everything to see that the Anglophone problem or Anglophone crisis, our Anglophone situation is given special attention.
Inequalities that have arisen in the past because the Anglophones have felt marginalized would be reduced, because part of our problem has been that some persons or some parts of this nation, especially the Anglophones, have felt that they were marginalized. This means, of course, that they did not have the same opportunities that other parts of the country enjoyed. So if we're going to, the president is going to be decisive in saying that there's equal opportunity for everybody in the area of education, in health, and so forth, this means, therefore, that by and large, the national cake will be more fairly distributed than before.
And he even promised to dialogue with those of goodwill. So they know, all of them, themselves, we can recognize them. They are welcome on the table of the discussions. Certainly, the head of the nation, the head of state, knows how we'll go about it. Still asking those that were misdirected to lay down their weapons. If not, they will be neutralized. I'm therefore launching an appeal to those of the Northwest region to heed to the call of the head of state, and the doors of the Center for Rehabilitations are widely open to welcome them.
And the election organizing body in the Republic of Cameroon elections, Cameroon is targeting 10 million voters ahead of the legislative, municipal, and perhaps regional elections expected to be organized in the country this year. Speaking to reporters shortly after the launching of the ongoing registration exercise in the Mefwana Famba Division, Central Region of the country, the Director General of Elections, Abdullahi Babali, said that the institution wants to move the figures from 6 million to 10 million potential voters. That is a 4 million potential voters objective for this year. Smanjik and Gabriel.
This couple is the first to pen their names on the electoral register in full as Elecam launches the revision of the electoral list. The man says he is overwhelmed being the first to register.
J'ai trouvé très normal d'être parmi les premiers parce que la terre appartient aux premiers occupants et attendre les échéances en fin d'année.
At Mfu in the Mefo and Afamba division, just like at the branch office at Mfundi, where the Elekam boss and his deputy visited, it was the same appeal launched, which was for them to put together their energy to ensure a successful exercise of the revision of the electoral lists. We are already at 6 million. Our target is to attain 10 million voters registration, implying we shall intensify the registration exercise to achieve our goal. We shall also carry out sensitization campaigns in the national territory using the public and private media alongside posters.
Par les affiches.
To be up to the task, Elekam is also counting on its personnel, but also on the other stakeholders in the electoral process. About the registration kit, the director of Elekam, Eric Esuse, has no doubt about its quality. We have over 1,000 new kits of new generation. I'm also impressed by the capacity of the machine. The fingerprints are well done, pictures very clear. I think we are making progress in quality.
En termes de qualité et de fidélisation, n'est-ce pas, de l'inscription.
Due to the celebration of the new year on January 1, the launching of the exercise of the revision of electoral lists was pushed to January 2, 2019, and it will come to an end on August 31 when the electoral core will be convened.
In the report coming up next, we're going to take you to the opaque city of Limbe in the crisis-hit southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where some elements of the National Armed Forces recently received new epaulets, raising them to higher ranks. David Sunmaimo reports.
As tradition demands, the 1st of January, elements of the National Defense Forces are recognized in their different ranks and files with epaulets and medals for their services in serving the nation. In Limbe, just as in other areas in Cameroon, some 87 elements of the National Defense Forces from the National Gendarmerie, the Land Force, the Air Force, and the Navy received epaulets of different ranks and files under the distinguished honor of the Senior Divisional Officer for FACO, Emmanuel Ngamba Ledo. The recognition of the men and women protecting the national territory and maintaining high security within the populace in the case of the National Gendarmerie saw 3 medals awarded to some superior senior officers for services in their line of duty, the National Order of Merit, and 2 public force medals.
Mr. Abdul Nusso, in the name of the President of the Republic and by virtue of the powers conferred on us, we decorate you with the Medal of Public Force.
In strict compliance with military style, 9 officers, among them 4 superior officers and 5 officers, with a woman promoted to the rank of Lieutenant Commander Magdalene Judith of the Navy, was a high point of the event. 53 sub-officers and 25 Marines were equally promoted in their different ranks and files, giving a total of 87 promoted in Limbe. The ceremony ended with a military march past under the command of Captain de Frigate Fuda of the Navy and was under tight security, given the present dispensation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country.
A similar ceremony equally took place in the Mongo division of the littoral region of the country, where some officers were equally raised to higher ranks at a ceremony presided at by the senior division officer of the Mongo division, Pascal Zoua. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
10 military personnel in Mongo division of the littoral region received epaulets. They were made up of 1 marine officer, 4 land force officers, and 5 gendarmes who were promoted at different levels. The ceremony was presided over by the senior divisional officer of Lom, Pascal Nzoua. He congratulated those who received the epaulets for working hard to distinguish themselves for the award. He called on those who did not receive this to emulate the example of their colleagues and work harder to merit the award. He exhorted them to take their assignment seriously and to become watchful and vigilant. Etunge Henesenge Lotson, who received the epaulet of Chief of Battalion, is grateful to the head of state for his confidence. He assured the population that from henceforth, things will not be the same again.
I want to assure the population of the Mongo division and the population of those in Kupe Manenguba that from henceforth, things will not be the same again. On behalf of him, I want all Cameroonians to know that our area of responsibility, we are going to do everything to ensure that all Cameroonians have to carry out their activities peacefully.
He equally called on Cameroonians of the English and French regions of the country to know that peace does not have a price.
I want to call on all Cameroonians, whether of English or French expression, that peace does not have a price. And those who will yield to the call so there can be peace, we understand that there will be peace.
The march past that brought the occasion to an end was animated by the Bakosi dance group.
Out of Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo has blocked the signal of a TV station owned by an opposition politician, and government spokesperson Lambert Mende accused Canal Congo of announcing results of Sunday's much-delayed presidential election before the official announcement. This comes days after the internet was shut down nationwide. The opposition has complained of irregularities in the election to find a successor to President Joseph Kabila, who has been in power for 17 years. It would be the first orderly transfer of power since the Democratic Republic of Congo got independence from Belgium in 1960. And the new officials recently appointed at the Cameroon Football Federation have started working in view of boosting and, of course, restoring the country's football after so many years of crisis that hit the Federation of Football in the Republic of Cameroon. The officials of Fecafoot, other football stakeholders, notably football club presidents, as well as officials of the Cameroon Professional Football League, met today in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, to discuss issues in connection to the country's football landscape. Here's an extract of what the president of Fecafoot, Seydou Mbombonjoya, told Equinoxe television shortly after that meeting.
Very satisfied, very happy today after the long meeting that we had with the league, professional league, and the clubs and the president of the league, professional league today. One of our main preoccupation after we have been elected was to try to resolve this very important problem that we have to face. So after 3 hours of negotiation and discussion, we have been able to come to a conclusion, a resolution, very important resolution, like to start the competition from the 24th January as the African Confederation has wished, because as you know there is a new calendar that has been decided who oblige us to end the competitions end of May and beginning of June. So I'm very happy that we have found a solution. We are going to accompany the league for a new deal, a new form of organization, and to try to reform this institution that we have on our charge. Anyhow, I'm very happy, and I'm happy that all the message of pacifications, message of unity, and message of let's say rassemblement has been really been achieved, and this is one of the most important proof that our message went through, having managed to be achieved. So I'm really happy, and then I'm still continue to think that if we want to rebuild our federation, we need to have pacification in the family, and we have given a very good example today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Seydou Mbombonjoya, President of the Cameroon Football Federation, ending this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.